Hello everyone, my name is DarkHero, welcome back to my channel where we cover Monster Hunter content. I'm so glad you are here. And yesterday we got the news about Iceborne. We saw a lot of new stuff, 3 new monsters that were going to be added to the game, as well as 2 returning monsters in the form of Nergigante and Tigrex. I'm still very hyped about all of that, but at the end of the livestream we also got some news about Arc-Tempered Nergigante. And with those news we got the release date for Arc-Tempered Nergigante, and that is, well, today. By the day you're watching this video, Arc-Tempered Nergigante will be releasing in just a few hours. As such, I have created a few builds that I believe will be very effective against Arc-Tempered Nergigante, so let's go through them. Now the first build we're going to take a look at uses a Gunlance, specifically a wide level 4 Gunlance. The one that I'm using is the Taroth Buster Water, but if you have another Gunlance that has a shelling type wide level 4, then feel free to use that one. We're using this type of Gunlance because Arc-Tempered Nergigante will be able to grow its spikes black much faster, and it may even get to the point where it's very hard to deal damage because of those black spikes. As such, if you have a regular melee weapon, your weapon would be bouncing off of those black spikes. Unless you brought Mind's Eye with you, that is, but even if you brought that with you, your damage would be reduced by a lot. So we are using this Gunlance because we can keep on spamming the explosive damage that we get from the Gunlance, and explosive damage is not reduced by the black spikes that Nergigante has, or at least not by a whole lot. That is why the second build uses a Charge Blade, which I'll talk about in a moment. So again, the recommendation is to go for a wide level 4 Gunlance. This one has the added bonus of having a level 3 decoration slot and a defense bonus of plus 20, and I went for a health regen augmentation to be able to heal myself whenever I deal damage. For the armor pieces we're using the Empress Crown Beta, which gives us a Evade Extender level 2, a level 3 decoration slot and a level 2 decoration slot. We're using the Basil Male Beta, which gives us Guard level 2 and 2 level 1 decoration slots. The Azure Starlord Gauntlets Alpha, which gives us Recovery up level 2 and a level 3 decoration slot. The Valhazak Coil Gamma, which gives us Recovery Speed level 2, Dragon Attack level 1, which is irrelevant, is just a byproduct of the armor piece, and also 1 level 2 decoration slot and 2 level 1 decoration slots. The Empress Greaves Beta, which gives us Health Boost level 2 and 2 level 2 decoration slots. And finally the Artillery Charm to get Artillery level 3, because I only have 2 Artillery Jewels instead of having 3, so I have to rely on this charm. Then we slot 3 Footing Jewels, 1 Jumping Jewel, 1 Vitality Jewel, 1 Medicine Jewel, 1 Recovery Jewel, 2 Iron Wall Jewels, and 2 Refresh Jewels, and we end up with the following skills. Guard level 4, which reduces knockbacks and stamina depletion when guarding by 30%. Tremor resistance level 3, which nullifies minor and major ground tremors. This is because Nergigante has some attacks that cause tremor, and I want to be able to survive against those because he may do one of those attacks and I'm not able to block with my Gunlance, and then if he does the dive bomb right after, that is a KO guaranteed. So with this skill I will be able to protect myself from that. Health boost level 3 is of course to increase our health as much as possible. Recovery up level 3 increases the amount recovered when restoring health by 30%, and that includes the health recovery that I get from my augmentation, so that is even better. And recovery speed level 3 quadruples the speed at which you heal recoverable damage, so that is also very nice. The red portion of the health gauge is going to recover very quickly, and that goes very well with a defensive build such as this one. Artillery level 3 is to increase the damage output of this build. Again, we're only going to rely on explosive damage and we need to increase it as much as possible, otherwise we may even not be able to take out Nergigante by the end of the fight, so artillery is the most efficient way of increasing our damage output. Evade Extender level 3 increases our evasion distance quite a bit, and I'm using this because the Gunlance doesn't have a lot of mobility and we may need this from time to time to get off the way of certain attacks or to sharpen the weapon, whatever it might be. This one is always good to have when it comes to the lance, the Gunlance or the Switch Axe. Stamina Surge level 2 speeds up the stamina recovery speed by 20%, which is great because I couldn't get guard level 5 because I only had 2 guard jewels instead of 3, but thanks to how many slots this build has, I was able to get Stamina Surge level 2, which I think makes up for the loss of not having guard level 5. As I said, Dragon Attack level 1 is just a byproduct of the armor piece we chose to go with, so it is irrelevant for this build. And we also get the Stamina Cap Up skill, which is part of the Lunastra set bonus, which of course increases our max stamina. And that is a good thing because we're going to be blocking a lot and that is going to cost us some stamina. Now for the Charge Blade build, this is a very offensive Charge Blade build, but I think it can work very well against Arc-Tempered Nergigante if you're someone who has mastered the guard point of Nergigante. If you can time the guard point just right, you might be able to use this very well and defeat Arc-Tempered Nergigante very quickly. So the weapon that I chose to go with is the Nergigante Charge Blade, the Devastation's Thorns, which is not as powerful as the Diablo's Charge Blade, but the reason as to why I chose to go with this one instead of the Diablo's Charge Blade is because this one has more blue sharpness. With the Diablo's Charge Blade, it is very difficult to maintain blue sharpness, and given that it doesn't even have white sharpness, the little blue sharpness it has is so difficult to keep up throughout the duration of the fight, at least until the monster runs away. I chose to go with the Devastation's Thorns because the moment you get to green sharpness with the Diablo's Charge Blade, you automatically lose in terms of damage compared to this Charge Blade, so you might as well just go with the Nergigante because in the long run you might be able to deal more damage. And as you can see, it also has one level 1 decoration slot, and for the augmentation I chose to go for a health regen augmentation to be able to recover myself as I play through the fight. Really quickly, let's go over the armor pieces. I am using the full Draken armor set with the Nergigante helmet beta. This is a very typical meta build, of course, and I am using the Exploiter charm to be able to get weakness exploit. Then I slot 2 vitality jewels, 1 iron wall jewel, 1 attack jewel, 1 mighty jewel, 1 critical jewel, 1 tenderizer jewel, and 1 expert jewel. With all of this, I am able to get Elemental Airborne and Master's Touch as part of the Draken Armor set bonus. And of course, Master's Touch is the one we actually want, which prevents our weapon from losing sharpness during critical hits. But because we cannot reach 100% affinity even with these affinity skills, again, that is why I prefer to go with the Nergigante Charge Blade. We get 30% affinity from Critical Eye level 7, 5% affinity from attack boost level 4, which also gives us 12 extra points of attack. Critical boost level 3 is going to increase our damage dealt from critical hits to 40%, increasing our damage output by a lot. And weakness exploit level 3 is going to increase our affinity by 50% whenever we are hitting a monster's weak spot. Now the difficult part here is that when Nergigante gets the black spikes, it is much more difficult to land those critical hits, and weakness exploit is most likely not going to trigger because if Nergigante is covered in black spikes, you're not going to be able to hit a weak spot, so that is something to keep in mind. Maximum Might level 3 will increase our affinity by 3% when our stamina is full, which it should be at all times because we are running a Charge Blade after all, and a Charge Blade doesn't use a lot of stamina unless you are blocking incoming attacks. Health boost level 2 is there because I had 2 spare slots, and I believe that going for extra health is more beneficial, especially against such a difficult monster. Power Prolonger level 1 is a byproduct of the set we're running, although it can be beneficial as it allows the Charge Blade to stay powered up for 10% longer. And the final skill is Guard level 1, which very slightly decreases the impact of attacks. But if you manage to charge the shield and you land a guard point on Nergigante's attacks, then that will bump guard level 1 to guard level 5 because guard points give you 2 extra points into the guard skill, and charging the shield gives you 2 extra points into the guard skill as well. Now let's move on to the final build of the video, and this one I'm not too sure about, but you guys let me know what you think of this. So as you can see, this build uses the Dark Devour heavy bowgun. So of course, this is going to be a cluster bombing heavy bowgun build. But since I'm not too confident on my abilities to go up against an Arc-Tempered Nergigante, that is why I decided to add some defensive skills in there. So as you can see, for the augmentations of the Dark Devourer, I just go for attack increase and health regen to be able to deal more damage, but also to be able to heal myself as I deal extra damage. Then for the armor pieces, I'm using the Xeno'jiiva Helmet Gamma, the Kirin Jacket Gamma, Xeno'jiiva Claws Gamma, the Xeno'jiiva Spine Beta, the Dragon Greaves Alpha, and finally the Awakening Charm. Then I slot 3 Vitality Jewels, 2 Artillery Jewels, 3 Attack Jewels, and 3 Jumping Jewels. With this, we are able to get the Xeno'jiiva set bonus, which is called Spare Shot, which gives us a chance of not spending any ammo whenever we use our weapon, which is very useful, something that you always want to have on your bowguns for sure. We also get Attack Boost level 5, Blight Resistance level 3, which is not that useful, we're not going to be using that. It's just a byproduct of the build we're using. Ammo Up, which expands the clip size for most ammo, and that is very important because again, we're trying to be able to flinch Nergigante to death, and thanks to the Xeno'jiiva set bonus and to this skill right here, we're going to be able to fire a lot more ammunition. Health Boost level 3 is here because I want to be able to survive a hit if I actually do get hit by Arc-Tempered Nergigante. And Evade Extender level 3 is here to greatly extend the evasion distance in order to avoid any incoming attacks, because the heavy bowgun is a very slow weapon and it takes a very long time to sheath the weapon or to put it back together. So instead of having to sheath the weapon in order to avoid an attack, I think that using Evade Extender can be more beneficial. Power Prolonger is just again a byproduct of the build we're using. Artillery level 2 is going to increase our damage whenever we're using the cluster bombs, which is what you want to be using for the most part. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get artillery level 3 because I only have 2 artillery jewels, but if you have 3, you can forego 1 vitality jewel and go for artillery level 3, which I believe will be much more beneficial. Critical Boost is of course going to increase our damage, but again, it's just a byproduct. Critical Boost level 1 is going to increase the damage dealt by critical hits, but this is not going to be useful because we're going to be relying on cluster bombs, and cluster bombs can never deal critical hits. And finally, Special Ammo Boost is not that useful again. It increases the power of bowgun special ammo and Dragon Piercer, but we're only relying on cluster bombs. We're probably not going to be using the special ammo at any moment, so you can disregard this skill. So yeah, these are the 3 builds that I think are going to be pretty powerful against Arc-Tempered Nergigante, especially the first 2 ones. Let me know what you all think about them in the comment section below, and are you guys excited for Arc-Tempered Nergigante? Which builds are you planning on using against him? Let me know all of that in the comment section down below. With that being said though, if you have enjoyed this video, then please leave it a like, as it takes less than a second and it helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you're new to the channel and turn on show notifications if you don't want to miss an ounce of Monster Hunter goodness. If you want to vote on what my next Monster Hunter top 10 or top 5 video will be, then head on over to Patreon and become a patron like these beautiful people. A big thank you to my patrons for choosing to support me and helping me keep this channel alive. You guys are my heroes, and a special thank you to Guildarts Gaming for being a mighty hero. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching. My name is DarkHero, and happy hunting!